Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to today's webinar on TechGig.com. Today's topic is Top 15 Tips for Engineers Effective Email Communication. We are delighted to have Mr. Rajesh Sengamedu, Head Sales and Marketing in Cointel. Rajesh brings in 20 plus years of corporate and entrepreneurial experience in sales and marketing business development. Rajesh currently heads sales and marketing at Cointel, a Finnish telecom solution company. Gentlemen, in this webinar, you can ask your questions to the presenter by typing in the chat pane available in webinar control panel. So without further delay, I invite Mr. Rajesh to present the webinar.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thank you, TechGig, for giving this opportunity to talk about the top 15 tips for engineers, effective email communication. My name is Rajesh, and if you want to know more about me, I run two blogs. SMBsalesconsultancy.com is a consultancy blog that I run, which is suitable for sales and marketing for small and medium businesses. And I also blog, maybe as individuals you might be interested to look at this blog. I blog about inspirational topics here at harnessingyourpotential.wordpress.com. And if you need to reach me, you've got my number and my email ID here and my Twitter handle here. So everybody, first of all, warm welcome once again. And what I'm going to do in the next hour or so is to take you through some of the practical tips that I have been using, and I have some good email techniques being used by other people, and I want to share those things to you. And my emphasis on this particular presentation would be making a few assumptions. The first one is that some of you would be communicating with external people, customers, vendors, partners, etc. And some of you would also, it also means that you would be communicating with people in the international context. So, so my presentation, I will kind of share examples related to how you should write an email geared up to communicating with an external world, especially international community. Okay, and you're welcome to stop me anytime by typing out a question, and as soon as I get it on my panel here, I will make sure that I answer that question at an appropriate time, and then move forward. So let's make this a little bit more interactive, albeit one-way traffic from your side in terms of typing out the questions. So I want to start by my presentation by giving you quotes. Okay, the first quote that I want to share with you is, I don't remember where I read this, but it says, music is the next best thing to silence. So people seek silence, and when they can't silence, they listen to music. That's what it means. Okay, so what it means is, first of all, silence is the most important thing, and the next thing that is important is music. The second one is a famous quote with Calvin and Hobbes, and I wanted to share this with you guys. Calvin said, sometimes when I'm talking, my words can't keep up with my thoughts. I'm pretty sure it's the same with each one of us. I wonder why we think faster than we speak. I'm pretty sure it's absolutely true for all of us. Hobbes says, probably so we can think twice. I want to emphasize this. Okay, probably so because we can think twice. So, the key point is we have to think twice before we actually speak, and that's why our thoughts move faster. Well, actually, it's much more true even in the case of emailing as well. Okay, you have to think before you email, and one of the first tip that I want to share with you is use the following priority as your communication method. Okay, and what is the priority? Let me share with you. First one, wherever possible, please do a face-to-face meeting. If you can't do a face-to-face meeting, please do a video conference. If you can't do a video conference, please pick up the phone and call. And if you can't do a phone call, please use instant messaging and communicate your message. And if you can't do any of these, then resort to writing an email. So I think the first and most useful tip that you would do is to think before you mail and follow a priority as follows. Now let's understand why. Okay, let's understand why. First of all, email takes more time to read and write. There is no interactivity in email. You got to write an email, you got to shoot it out, the other person receives it, and then he responds to you. There is no emotion. You know, there's hardly any emotion. What you hear me say, you can hear emotions in my voice. But in email, absolutely no emotion. And worse still, you would end up communicating wrong emotions. You will say something in your email, and the other person will interpret it something else. Lastly, no non-verbal cues. There's nothing like no body language. You can't see the other person. It's so difficult to communicate on email. So please think before you email. Now, what's the benefit if you follow this process? Let me explain to you the simple thing. Let's assume that you've got to communicate something, and it takes you 3 minutes by a phone call. Let me tell you, it will take you at least 30 minutes on email. To type out an email, it will take you 30 minutes. Now, if you want to increase your productivity by 10x on email, just be more productive by not writing mails. That's the tip number one that I want to share with you guys. Okay? So, the tip number two, what I want to share with you guys is know your purpose. You need to know why you're writing an email. Okay? And I'm going to share with you 3 broad categories of reason. Okay? First one, are you selling something? If you're selling something, you've got to write an email in a particular way. Second thing is, are you reporting a status? Many times, you know, project managers, engineers, tech leads, we end up writing status reports to our customers, right? And there is also another reason. Is it a general hello email that you want to send? You want to build a relationship with somebody. You know, you're not been in touch with that particular person for a long time. So you want to write a hello email to check. You're not selling something, you're not reporting status, but you're just writing a hello email. Okay? What is it that you have to do if this is the kind of purpose that you have? Are you selling something? Are you reporting status? Is it a general email? What are the top guidelines that I would recommend for you? Okay? If you're selling something, first of all, 5 key things that I want to share with you. Keep it crisp, keep it short. Personalize. Dear Rajesh. Write it like that. Don't say hello and then go on. Don't do that. Explain the problem. And please understand, when you're selling something, you are trying to solve a problem. So you have to, first of all, tell what is the problem. Okay? And once you've explained the problem, you should provide your solution. And lastly, don't forget to include a call for action. So if you're selling something, keep it short, personalize, explain the problem, provide your solution, ask for call to action. Okay? So you should be asking explicitly, would you like me to set up a meeting with you to discuss this? That's the call for action. Okay? And if you're reporting status, keep it crisp, personalized. Very simple. You've done a release, you want to tell what that release contains, keep it crisp. personalize. And if it is general hello email, keep it crisp, personalize, make it informal. Okay? Whereas here, if you look at it, when you're selling something, you would want to make it formal. Whereas here, make it formal. And lastly, ask for call to action. What do you want the other guy to do? Do you want him to stop by at Cafe Coffee Day to have a cup of coffee with you? Or do you want him to, when he's visiting you, Bangalore or India the next time, you want him to come and have a meeting with you? Or you just want a introduction to somebody else? You ask the person, okay? So, are you selling something? Are you reporting status? Is it a general hello email? Please categorize. Before you write your email, please categorize which bucket your email falls under. Now, this is also another very important tip number 3 that I'm going to share with you. Know your mood to write an email. Okay? If you are happy, that is a good time to write an email. If you are angry, please don't write an email at that point of time. Okay? And if you are upset, don't write an email. Do you feel Do you feel wanted? Do you feel that your ideas and opinions will be valued? That's a feeling that you're going to have. And when you have that feeling, write your email. Okay? And do you feel threatened? When you feel threatened, don't write an email. Now, what's important? Because it's important because what goes on in your mind is the reality that is going to happen for you. If you're happy, you're going to create a happy email. If you're happy, you're going to create a happy circumstance. If you're upset, you're going to make others upset by sending out an email which is going to be perhaps communicating your mood. Although emails find it tough to communicate the mood, I can still tell you, you would do something in your mail, we will see some examples later on, that you would make the other person angry. So it's very important, guys, to understand your mood when to write an email. Okay? So now let me move to my tip number 4, decide style. So after you have known your purpose and you know your mood, you need to decide your style. Okay? And like I said sometime back, there are 2 broad styles. One is formal style, one is an informal style. How do you do what is a formal style and what is informal style? Formal style is very business-like. Okay? So it's like the difference between wearing a t-shirt to office and wearing a suit to office. Okay, wearing a suit is business. T-shirt is informal. Informal is writing an email which is similar to a water fountain conversation. You go meet a friend near the water fountain and you talk, hey, what are you doing today? Do you want to watch a movie? You know, you talk like that. An informal mail, you should write like that. Secondly, don't write an email, informal email, somebody that you don't know. An informal email should be written to someone whom you know. And usually it is one-on-one emails. You will not write an informal mail to many people unless all of them are your friends. Okay? And usage of emoticons and other expression marks, absolutely fine. Because it's an informal email, you are trying to communicate emotions. Okay. So we have a comment here from somebody. Let me try to figure out who we got this comment from. Okay, Vengesh Somasundar says, even email takes more time. We can think for a while and we can write effectively. You're absolutely right, Venkatesh. I really appreciate what you said here. Okay, email takes more time, so you have to think, and that's exactly the point. The point is first think before you write it. Thanks a lot for that lovely thought, Venkatesh. Okay. So now you know the purpose, you know the mood, and you've decided the style. Now, how do you actually go and write the email? Okay, how can you be crisp? Let's look at how can you be crisp. I'm pretty sure, many of you are using Twitter these days, okay? And, look at some of the numbers, statistics in Twitter today. 300 million tweets a day, roughly 300 million users. They cannot be wrong about communicating in 140 characters or less, right? And SMS, billions of SMS are being sent. SMS is the biggest killer app in the mobile industry, limited to 140 characters or less, okay? That is being crisp, being short on your emails. You have to train yourself to be crisp on your emails. If you can't remember that, remember Twitter, okay? Don't use acronyms. A lot of people don't understand acronyms, okay? BS can stand for bad sheet. It can also stand for bullshit. Please don't use acronyms still. And if you don't remember this suggestion in my tip number 5, if you have watched the movie Guru, Abhishek Bachchan, who plays the role of Dhirubhai Ambani there, when he's in the court gives him 3 minutes to make his case, okay? And he takes 2 minutes, 45 seconds, and he tells the judge that he saved 15 seconds of the court time. He says that's profit. So he's a miser with words. Okay, go watch that. Go watch the dialogue for Guru and Munafa. That's the word that you need to look for, and you will see it on YouTube. You have to be a miser with words. You have to communicate more with less words. That's the meaning of being crisp. Okay? Now let me show you my next tip, tip number 6, have an effective subject. I cannot stress how important it is to have an effective subject. Let me share with you a few examples, 4 examples of good subject. And I'll also share with you 2 or 3 examples of bad subjects. Okay? First one, here is an email that I received from somebody asking me to sign up for something, okay? And I'll get a discount. Okay, that's the substance of the mail. So look at the subject, deadline 9 p.m. ET tonight for SCS 2.0. Very clear. Subject is very, very effective, right? Now, another email where I get an email about a preparation for a press release, okay? And it says thanks and PR preparation. The subject matter and the subject and the matter in the mail is aligned. It's very good. Another email sent from me, actions, sales call, 3rd Feb 2012. Very clear. Recipient of the email knows what to expect in this mail. 4th email, meeting summary, Mobile World 2012 in India, Bangalore. Okay? Very clear. The contents of the mail just talks about the meeting summaries. These are all good examples of writing mails. Effective subject. If I am interested in the subject, I will read that mail. Okay? So the most key point. Okay? So somebody sent me a mail. They need help for France taxation regulations. Very clear mail. Help needed for France taxation regulations. Okay? Subject matter and the matter in the body is related. Now, let's also look at some bad email examples. Somebody sent me a presentation. Have to send it out in 3 hours for going to the next meeting. Please feel free to modify and correct and send me back. And what is the subject? Latest. Please give your comments and keep the best you can. I don't understand what I have to clean up. If you receive an email like this, I don't know what you're going to expect in that particular mail. It's not at all clear, right? Now let's look at another mail. Okay, I got an email asking, customer is asking us if we can begin with the 1 or 2 short-term project. Okay, and the subject is, he's responding to an old email called Happy Diwali. He just went to his mailbox, picked up an email that I had sent him long back with the subject Happy Diwali, which I sent it to him. He's responding to that with a lot of matter. Now what happens when you get a mail like this? First of all, it may go into your trash junk mail automatically because of your mail filters. Second thing is, I may actually not be in a position to think that this is an important mail for me. and many people do set up their own personal filters. So what happens is when you send a mail where the subject's not related to the body and the subject says something which is not important, then you end up losing the value of sending that email, which effectively means if you spend 30 minutes on writing that mail, I'm sorry, that 30 minutes is a waste of time. Okay. Now, tip number 7. Let me move to my tip number 7. I have seen several emails where there are many topics in an email. If you give people a chance, they will bulletize, they will make some 10 topics, 15 topics in one email and send it out to everybody else. All 10, 15 topics will be totally unrelated. Okay? Now let's look at some of the examples. I received an email from somebody. I did not receive any further update from you. I hope everything is going as planned. Meanwhile, I've got some, something for your comments, okay? And then the next one is another subject regarding Pradeep. We have informed the client about his move to France. This is 2 subjects. You have to make it as 1 subject, okay? Similarly, somebody sends me I got another question. Okay. Rahul. Okay. Rahul Mishra says, how important is it to put email addresses based on rank of address while addressing more than one person in an email? Good question, Rahul. If you can hold on for a second, I'll get the answer to your question. Okay. Now, Datta Tekale says, but in the professional, we should follow the email as first communication as per the work perspective, right? Okay, that's a good question. It depends on what you want to do, Datta. My point is, if you're using email to document something and send it to the other person, yes, you have to follow email as a protocol. But if your email is meant to communicate something, okay, all I'm asking you is, please figure out if there's another way of communicating. Okay, then Raja Rama Rao asked me a question. Many times we have to keep the trail on discussions. What do you suggest? It's a very good question, Raja Ram. Thanks for that. I think you are right. Many times we have to keep a trail on discussions. But the point is, please understand, after some time, what happens is go back to your mail and check. You have to keep a trail on the discussions, but after 2 or 3, discussion threads, the topic is totally different than what you're actually going to discuss. Some have taken the topic off tangent. That's what happens. So as long as you're keeping the thread correct, okay, you have to keep the discussions. But my experience says that the thread just goes away. Okay. Now Muthukumar asks me a question. If I want to send resume to one company, which subject was good? Company means which subject was good. If I want to send resume to one company, which subject was good? Okay, that's a good question. Let me hold that question for a while. Okay. 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 Now, some of you asked some relevant about using to and CC effectively and BCC carefully, So I want to share with you my tip number 8 for you guys. Okay. How do you use to and CC effectively and BCC carefully? First of all, if you're going to send an email to somebody, you have to put that person's name in to field when one of these conditions are true. Okay, first one, you are assigning an action item to that person. Okay. Second, info in that mail is important for that person. 3, you want the person to take some action. Okay, you may not be assigning an action item, but you want that person to take an action. Okay, these are the 3 reasons in which I would recommend you to put a receiver's name to field. Okay. If you want to send an email to somebody, now let's talk about why CC field is there. Okay. Now CC field is there because you want somebody to know, but no action is required. Okay. You are not assigning any action. If you're not assigning the person any action, and you should put the person CC. Many people use filters. For example, I use a filter. If the mail does not, if I am not on the two in the mail, okay, I put all of them in a separate folder and I look at it when I have time. So effectively, if you're going to send me a mail with my name CC'd on that particular mail, and if you're expecting me to respond within 24 hours because this is assigned to me, chances are that I would not be responding. Okay. Avoid CC field if you can. Use forward instead. Now, what is the BCC? You want a blind carbon copy. That means you want the people in the to field and the CCC field not to know whom you're sending that mail. Now, what happens is that when you send the BCC, that guy who is going to receive that mail is going to forward it to somebody else who may be on the to or C list. Now, what happens? It's going to backfire. You're going to tell about particular customer, about how you handle a particular customer situation, and the customer was not happy with you. You want to say, okay, the customer was not happy with us, and you write that in the hope that you will not want to let that customer see it, and your boss by mistake forwards it to that customer. It happens all the time. Okay, so okay. Now, also, in an office, there are politics, okay? Please remember, when I say office, it could be your own office, or it could be between your office and your customers, your office and your partner's office, okay? Now, here are the emotions that you should be careful about when you use to CC and BCC. If you mail me something and copy my boss, I'm going to be upset. Unless you have a reason to copy my boss, please be clear why you're copying my boss. That's the emotion, okay? If you respond to an email, the first point was if you initiate an email, okay? The second point is if you respond to an email from me in which my boss is already there in the copy, I'm okay. You should do that. Third point, if you CC my boss in an email that you're sending me, I will stop doing business with you. I know a colleague of mine who used to BCC every mail to the founder of the company, okay? And a lot of people never used to like that guy's attitude because, they were thinking that this guy is going to talk behind their back all the time. And that's the attitude. That's the emotion of the people. So please be aware of this, okay? Now there's a question. Let me hold on here. Okay. Okay. I think it's all answered question. Let me move to my next tip. Tip number 9. Okay. Usage of capitals and bold. Capitals and bold or bold underline convey unintentional emotions. Capitals in written language could mean that you're shouting at somebody. Bold means you're ordering somebody. These are the emotions that they communicate. Now let's look at one example, okay? Here is an email with the subject says proposal, please review and respond. Dear APC, as discussed, please find attached proposal. Please review and respond by this week with your comments. That's the email. Now, if I want to write this email in a different way, just respond by this week in bold. Do you know what is the emotion this is communicating? Okay, from this particular mail, in this, I am the receiver of this email. If I am ABC, I am expecting, I'm reading that Rajesh is telling me to respond before end of the week. He's ordering me. I don't like it. That's the problem. Okay? Okay. So I have a question here from Anubhava where he says, Anubhav Nandi says that please let me know if there are more than one recipients, then what is the best way to write an email? Okay, very good question. Okay. When there are more than one recipients in an email, what is the best way to write an email? Here is my suggestion to you. First of all, if you're writing an email to more than 5 or 6 people, you have to be clear in your mind what is the purpose. Okay? If you're not clear about the purpose, you will be just doing action, writing email without any result. 8 hours of your productive time, you will spend maybe 2 hours writing emails. Those 2 hours are sheer waste. Be clear about your purpose. Okay, we talked about what the purpose that you have. If you're selling something, your reporting status is a general hello email. Okay, what is it that you're doing? You have to be very clear. If you're selling something, if you're reporting status, and if you have to send it to many people, that's okay. Accept it. Okay, but will that email, sending email to many people, trigger multiple email chains? Okay, because you're sending something on a sensitive topic, then you please be clear about what you're going to send. Okay. Now there's another question here which says that this comes from Rakesh Raut. Sometimes using BCC makes sense. As an example, software release email to 1,000 different users. To avoid reply all the 1,000 users and to then to discontinue chain mail. Absolutely right, Rakesh. You're absolutely right. You want just as information to be sent across saying that a software release has been done. Okay, you do that, and BCC makes sense. Absolutely right. I agree with you. Okay. Another question from Kuntal Jain. Generally in CC, bosses emails of both sides are stated. Is it appropriate to do so? Okay. I do think I have understood this question. I'll park it for the moment. Okay. Another question I've got, which is a good way to send the multiple attachments? Okay, that's a good question. As far as Jagadish Mukra, as far as my suggestion to you goes, I don't have the tip in my top 15 tips because that's the 16th tip that attachment that you need to send. It's always better if you use something like a Dropbox or some other facility like that and give a link. There are advantages. Advantages is, when somebody downloads, you know who has downloaded. Second thing is, you don't send a huge file in an email which can clog up that recipient server. Okay. Okay. Kuntal Jain asked me another question. If subject email is not good, should we reply while changing subject of email? Okay. I think the point is, the subject email is not good. Should we reply while changing subject of email? Okay. My point to you is, if you are changing the topic subject, okay, please do it, because people will appreciate when there is more accuracy. Okay. But if you feel that the person who has initiated that mail will get offended because you changed it, please be careful about that. Okay, I think I have got a lot more questions, but maybe I'll wait for these questions, wait till I finish some more slides and then perhaps get back. I hope you guys can hold on for a second. Let me go to my next tip number 10. Okay. Tip number 10 is limiting message to one screen. I did some research on my own Outlook. Okay, and I'm going to share you a screen here which talks about how my Outlook screen looks like. Okay, this is how my Outlook screen looks like. It's a snapshot of my Outlook screen. Okay, so I have some inbox, outbox things here. I've got my inbox mails here. I've got my calendar here. I got my to-do tasks here and all that stuff. Okay, and I've got my preview pane here. And here is, I got my preview pane here, and I counted. This is the window that I can read at any point of time, unless I double click on it, open up the window in a new box and things like that. What I calculated is, in this, you can write about 180 words of email. So if you want to grab anybody's attention, remember, like Twitter, 145 characters. Email, not more than 180 words. Please limit your message to one screen to be more effective in your emails. Okay? Now, I want to talk to you about my next tip number 11. Review emails before sending. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you an email, one line from an email, and I'm going to explain to you what is the problem with this thing. Okay? Here is an email where this is sentences in that email. Okay, let me read it out for you. I am sending this information upfront to our meeting so that I can be of help with clarifications to you queries, if any. Okay, now first of all, there are two mistakes. To your queries, okay, spelling mistake. Let's ignore that. Do you see this red word, upfront to a meeting? Okay, now please understand, if you don't review the mail, the receiver of this message reads your email in a totally different way. Okay, and do you know why? The word upfront has a different meaning. But before I go there, let me explain to you what the sender intended. What the sender wanted to say was, okay, here is some information. I'm going to send it to you before our meeting. So when we meet, if you have any clarifications, I can clarify. That is the message. Okay. So upfront, he's using it like a word which meant before. Okay. But unfortunately for him, the dictionary meaning of upfront is to insult intentionally, especially openly. Okay. So if I'm reading this mail, I'm sending this information to insult you before our meeting so that I can be of help with clarifications to your queries, if any. That means if you have any query on the insult what I've given, I can clarify. Just understand, you know, this is absolutely incorrect. Okay, and you can catch it if you just do a simple review of your mail, and you don't have to be an English language master. You can get your review tools, spell check, grammar check to do this work for you. Okay, please be careful. Okay, you can screw up relationships if you do something unintentionally like this. Okay. Another of my important tips for you. I mean, most of us, you know, as Indians, you know, we have our language. All our languages in India are derived from Sanskrit, and in Sanskrit, we construct our sentences in exactly opposite way that English constructs. Okay. We construct our sentences as subject, object, verb. Okay, whereas English does subject, verb, object. Okay. Now, unfortunately for us, we have to write emails in English, and you have to focus on eliminating passive voice. Most of us Indians, when we speak in passive voice. So we write in passive voice. Okay, so that's not acceptable in international business situations. You got to be direct. Okay, you got to be frank. You got to be to the point. That means you got to use active voice. Okay, let me show you a cartoon which I picked up. Here is a doctor who is explaining to the patient. Okay, well, yes, I suppose I could have test results in plain English, but then you would know how sick you are. Very clear. You know, you got to straight talk. If you want to do something in plain English, it's very easy for people to understand, even if it is very difficult topic like a medical situation, medical problem. So my tip number 12, tip number 11, ladies and gentlemen, you got to be using active voice and straight talk. An example of active voice and passive voice, it's here, right here up on the screen for you to look at. Let me move to my number 12. Okay, we talked about this. Don't email when you are emotionally charged. Okay, why you should not email when you are emotionally charged? First of all, your language would be rude. Whether you like it or not, your thoughts will get reflected in your language. Your grammar may not be correct. You'll make mistakes. You are in such a tearing hurry that you will not care. And when you don't care, it comes across that you are not a professional. Last, but very, very important, you will not be clear about the purpose. I know a lot of people who written emails when they were angry only to regret that they did not know what they were writing before. So please don't email when you're emotionally charged. Okay, now my tip number 13. Okay, well, this is a very interesting tip. Okay, I have seen a lot of people misspell names of people or company names. When somebody misspells your name incorrectly, you'll end up thinking, hey, this guy doesn't even care about me, right? Now, there are names, especially in the international context, where if you misspell, the meaning will be totally different. Let me share with you. I had a colleague called Brian, okay? People used to refer to him as Brain. Just imagine you getting a mail, your name is Brian, you getting a mail, Dear Brain. Would you like it? Another guy, a Finnish guy, he writes his name as Yrjo, Y-R-J-O, and you write his name as Yrjo, Y-I-R-Y-O. Maybe it's got a totally different meaning in Finnish. Lisa, that's how she spells her name, L with a double I. You write Lissa or Lisa. This has got totally nothing. Lisa doesn't recognize her name as Lissa or Lisa. Ryan. Ryan is an English name. And Ryan, we Indians, we write like this, Ryan or Ryan. Okay? Schneider Electric is the name of a company. Okay? Electric, you write it like this. Electric should be written like this. Accenture, you write Accenture. Abhijit with a single I, Abhijit. Jean-Claude, it's a French name. Jean-Claude writes his name with a hyphen here, and you write Jean space Claude. What is his first name? What is his last name? You don't know. This one is my favorite, okay? I have a Spanish colleague of mine. His name is Diego. And if you write die space go, I don't think Diego appreciates it. Okay, now let me pause here for a while and perhaps get to a few questions before I complete my other two more tips. Okay, I'm just going through the questions. Okay, there is a question from Rakesh Raut regarding product demo subject. It could be modified to short and sweet as product and contact details for demo. Correct, Rakesh. Thanks for the tip. Okay. Next question from Shruti Kaushik Nanduri. When you have a very short message to convey, you can use the M or end of message technique. This is possible when you can put all the relevant information in the subject line, followed by letters EOM. This lets the recipient know that he or she doesn't even have to open the email. All the information is right there. Absolutely right. Thank you, Shruti, for the tip. Okay. Then there's a question from Vibhuti Kumar, interesting question. How to address the mail for a customer where I'm updating status on project and some action need to be taken from my manager? Should I send two different email or one mail? Request me to send two separate emails for you to be more effective. Okay. Next one, Rakesh Raut asks me a question. How can we highlight certain message in the email body without making some of the highlighting very well? Please understand that. Okay. Nitin Joshi has a question. I used to end my emails with a dot dot dot. But after one of my colleague from HK pointed out that immediately after I stopped doing so. So just want to know how does that convey some kind of unintentional emotions like capitals and bold. Well, dot 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 means if I were to read without even understanding what mail that you sent, it means that you are unsure of your email, Nitin. So you got to be clear. If it is a question mark, put a question mark. If it's a sentence that you're communicating, put a full stop. Dot 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 shows you are unsure of what you're saying. Okay. Next question from Sailesh Balaramahanti. Hey Rajesh, how do we try and bring the notice of the reader to a specific sentence or section of the email? I currently use bold or underline. Apparently I'm wrong. Sailesh, I don't say that you are wrong. All I'm saying is you be clear. Maybe you're writing too much in your email that your recipient is not even noticing what is the most important sentence. Okay, be very clear what you write. Okay. Now, another question from Akhilesh. Hey Rajesh, there can be cases when the email becomes long and you want to highlight some points which are important and you want to highlight it for the readers. How would you suggest to do the same? First of all, please don't write long emails. If you want to highlight some points, figure out if you can break it down into multiple emails. Or, more importantly, if you have to send as one report, okay, send an attachment. Make a proper professional report, a 1-page, 3-page, 25-page Word document and send it like a report. Don't write like a long email to people. People don't have time. People need to know what is the subject, what action they need to take, and where are the details. Just follow that. Make sure that the subject is specific. Make sure that you're communicating what actions they need to take, and if they need background information, show them where to find the background information. But don't put the background information in the email. Okay. Okay. I'm going to stop here and take a few more slides before I finish off my rest of my other questions here. Okay. So, okay. Tip number 14. Okay. Here I'm going to tell you, first of all, we started off by saying think before you write an email, and I want to kind of give you a tip which I have practiced successfully in my organizations and improve my productivity. So if you care for your productivity, you might want to listen to this, although I'm not saying that this might work for you. Okay, here is what I have done. From 1st January 2012, every Tuesday, I refrain from sending internal mails. I don't send mails to anybody within my organization. So in the process, I gained roughly 2 hours on Tuesday. And so far, nobody noticed any major impact of this. Okay? Now, assume that you're going to not write any email on one day. Okay? 2 hours per day means roughly 5% improvement in your productivity. 2 hours 2 hours per day, you don't write emails, you do some other productive work. 20 working days in a month, that's 5%, 10%. 10% improvement in productivity. Now what is the benefit? Okay, it helps me to walk across to my colleague's desk or pick up a phone or use IM or video conference to communicate with the colleague. Now, by doing so, I'm actually building relationships with people. Email is very, very impersonal. Just the fact that I'm making an effort to go walk across to them and ask them about the status of a project. Okay? I have caught that guy's attention better than sending out an email. Maybe I've had a cup of tea with him together and realized that both of us have the same interests. That's what happens. Okay? Now, one more thing. Remember, you are not indispensable in any organization. Okay? And remember this, even if you don't mail for a day, business will go on as usual, if not better. Okay? Try this technique. I'm pretty sure it will improve your productivity I'm pretty sure your bosses will be happy. I'm pretty sure your customers will be happy. Okay. Now, tip number 15. Now, sometimes, you are listening to this top 15 techniques, and probably you'll go and implement one or two in your own, emailing style. But perhaps there are others who still end up writing long emails, okay? And they want two or three, and especially let's say if your boss is sending you an email asking you to respond on 5 or 6 different points, the most professional way that you can do this is to respond to all the points. So let's say that you got a mail with, let's say, 3 different topics asking you to respond. Topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. And let us say you have answers for topic 1 and topic 2, and you don't have answers for topic 3. Okay? There are 2 things you can do. Number 1, you can respond by saying topic 1, here is the answer. Topic 2, here is the answer. Topic 3, I don't know, I'll get back to you in 3 days. Okay? That's one way of responding. Second way of responding is you respond topic 1, topic 2, ignore topic 3 because you don't know the answer. Now, after some time, because it's an email communication, there's a time lag between the sending and the reading and then forwarding it back to you and all that stuff. 2-3 days go by, and then what happens is the person who sent you the mail with the 3 topics has got a response from you with partial response, and he doesn't remember that you have not responded to the third. Now, what happens is all of us are human. We go look into our outbox. We see that we have responded to that email. We completely forgot that we have not responded to a third point. And that shows unprofessionalism. After 1 month, the guy remembers, hey, you didn't respond to this third point. And then you'll say, no, I responded to the third point. And then, you go back, check your mail trail, documentation, and all that stuff to figure out that you've actually you have forgotten to respond to the third point. Okay? So, when you respond to part of the mail, first of all, you are actually disrespecting the sender. Please remember that. It shows that you're not finding out the answers. It shows your apathy. That means you are careless. You would forget later on. So my suggestion to you is, when somebody sends you a mail with 3 or 4 points, make sure that you respond to all the points. Otherwise, put it in your to-do list, get all the answers, and only then respond. If it takes 2 or 3 days, please write a mail. I got your email. I'm finding the answers. I'll get back to you in 3 days, and find the answers in 3 days and respond to them in 3 days. Okay? Now I finished my 15 tips. Okay? Now I'll take some questions, and before I I have 2 more slides after a few questions, and then I will conclude it. Okay? Now let me go to this question. Is auto reply mail good one? Such as, thanks for your mail and automatically reply to sender. Well, Muthu, it depends. What is it? For example, if you're going for on a vacation for 1 week and you're expecting somebody to send you an email, but you cannot respond, an auto reply is definitely good. But make sure that the auto reply is sufficiently enough information that the guy who's going to send you an email has another person to contact you to get his answer. Okay. Another question from Raghunath. How can I generalize genders? She, sir, madam in my email. I presume that your question is, how can I send my email to somebody whom I don't know? The point is, if you don't know somebody that you're going to send an email, you're actually spamming the person. As well not do it. Okay. Javed Basha. Regarding callback of emails, sometimes it so happens that before we call back, it would have been read by someone. In that case, do we have to send one more email to explain the callback? What do you suggest? Javed, my suggestion to you is, first of all, don't hit end button. Okay? If you think you're going to call back an email, put it in your draft folders, sleep over, come back next day and send it. Okay? The moment you've said something which the other person, expecting it to call back because for whatever reason, you have probably already done the damage. Karthik asks me a question. Please give me the following. while replying to a person how to mention his/her name. Email from a.b@c.com. Whether A first name, B last name, while replying how to reply. Okay, here is my suggestion to you. If person is written to you an email, look at how he signs his name. For example, if a person's name is, let us say, Rajesh Sengamedu, I'm sending you an email and I sign off, thank you, best regards Rajesh. You respond to me as dear Rajesh. If I sign off with my signature, Rajesh Sengamedu, blah, 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 then you write dear Mr. Sengamedu. Okay? And if I sign off saying that just R, then dear R. It works most of the time. Gautami Krishnamurthy is asking a question. In the subject shall be mentioned as NNTO subject EOM. What is NNTO? No need to open. Okay. First of all, I learned this abbreviation NNTO. Okay. Honestly, please don't use abbreviation. And if you're going to send an email, NNTO, what is the purpose of the particular email? Bhupesh Kumar is asking me a question. While writing to my team lead, I need to personalize like dear, or should I just say he? Okay. I don't know how many of you guys are married. Okay. I'm married and I say good morning to him every day. And I say good morning with her name and my wife likes it. So I'm pretty sure your team leaders will like it if you call them by their name rather than just say he. Shruti Kaushik Nanduri says, how do you communicate or reply to an email if your boss has written a partially incorrect report to the clients, where all the customers have been marked in two? Tell me a way in which my boss should not yell at me when he's a wrong attitude one. Okay? Do you, if you, Shruti, you know, my, the topic of this webinar is us to write good mail and communicate better. If somebody is making a mistake, okay, and especially if he's your boss, you got to figure out a nice way of communicating it to him in person. Okay, and especially if he's made a mistake with your customers, don't point that mistake such that your boss feels belittled in front of everybody. Don't do that. So you figure out a nice way. And if you can't figure out a nice way, wait till you figure out a nice way and then tell your boss. Okay, I think that's pretty much the questions that I had. Okay, I have two more slides I want to share with you. Okay, now I read this story way long back. I'm pretty sure many of you have read this story, but here is the point to prove one important aspect of email communication. Okay, there was a telegram sent by the judge to the prison warden. Okay, he sent a mail, he sent a telegram in those days. I'm talking about some 30 years back. Hang him not, full stop, set him free. That was the message sent by the judge to the prison warden. Okay. Now, what happened was the guy who was typing out the telegram made a mistake. The telegram said, the telegram which was received by the prison warden said, hang him, full stop, not set him free. And do you know what happened? Just because of a silly mistake, a grammatical mistake by somebody, okay, a person lost his life. Now, this is, your emails are not going to be as drastic as this, but I want you to carry home the message that if you're not careful with your dots, commas, you are actually communicating a wrong message. And if you're communicating a wrong message, maybe people will not get hanged, but maybe you are burning some bridges. Please be careful about that. Okay? Now, I want to tell you one case study, okay, about an intention, okay. Now, some of the phrases, now look at this. Here is a mail which was sent by somebody to everybody in the company, and the mail is basically saying that we had financial basics training session given by Rajesh Sengamedu on da 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 da, comma, for the benefit of all employees, full stop. Okay, we have put up the financial basics training in Lunada, and you can access the link. Okay, now the original intentions of the mail was, I conducted a training program to only a few guys, not to everybody. Okay, and we decided that we will put that webinar out in our intranet so that all the employees who did not attend will be benefited. Now, when you write an email where this phrase "for the benefit of our employees" is put in this sentence, it means that the training session was conducted for the benefit of all employees, which actually was not true because I conducted the training session only for a few employees. Okay. Now, if you put the same statement here, so if you, instead of putting it here, you put the beginning of the next sentence. Okay. So you read the email. We had financial basics training session given by Rajesh on 27th yesterday. Full stop. Okay. For the benefit of all employees, we have put up the financial basic training material in Luna, which means that you are telling everybody very clearly, hey guys, you could not attend the session, so for your benefit you put it up. Whereas when you put like this, it means that, you know, we conducted a training program for the benefit of all employees, but we did not invite all of you. It's a wrong way of communicating. Okay, so please be careful about that as to what you want to write. So your intention should be clear, your purpose should be clear. Okay, so I think I've come to the end of my session, and if you want to drop me a note, you can drop me a note at rajesh.segnamedu@smbsalesconsultancy.com, or if you want to read about my writings related to sales and marketing, you can go to smbsalesconsultancy.com, and if you want to read about my inspirational blog, where I blog about several inspirational topics and tips to improve your productivity, to improve your lifestyle, you look at http://harnessingyourpotential.wordpress.com. So thank you very much for all of you. Really appreciate that you could take this time. And thank you very much, TechGig, once again for giving this opportunity. And we still have another 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. If there are some more questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Okay, we have a question from Bhuvan. While I do understand that long emails are not good, there are some who get confused, maybe even irritated with multiple emails. Usually though, that we can handle it without emails for these persons, but if such persons are part of a team and the mails are also to the whole team, how to handle it? Okay, I still want to go back to the golden rule. Okay, you have to understand what is the purpose of the long email. If it is a report, can you put it as an attachment and still make the email body very small? Okay, if you are triggering off a discussion in an email where you want the whole team to, you know, comment and do this, do that, better tools that you can use to do those kind of teamwork. Emails, please use with a particular purpose in mind. Okay, if you're selling something, write a particular type of email. If you're communicating status reports, write a particular type of email. But please do not write long emails. If somebody is going to get irritated because you're sending short emails, you know, I think over a period of time, I'm all convinced, and I believe in this, that that person will appreciate getting multiple emails with clearly defined subjects, matter, and the appropriate content. We have a next question here. Rahul Mishra is asking me this question. How important is it to put email addresses based on rank of address while addressing more than one person email? I don't understand what is rank of address. Okay. So if you're saying seniority, I really don't care. You can do it whichever way you want. Okay. Prabha Joseph is asking a question. Which is the good approach to address a person in an email? Is he Jude, hello Jude, or Jude? Which is good? He Jude or hello Jude is more preferred to just saying Jude. But if you know the person a lot better, he Jude or hello Jude or Jude is all okay. Okay, but if you ask me my personal preference, I would still not go with just saying Jude. I will still say he Jude or hello Jude. Okay, Kuntal Jain is asking me a question. If I have sent an email for somebody to take action, and if he hasn't for a week, then how many reminders should be sent to him before his boss is marked in an email, knowing that he would get annoyed? Well, Kuntal, here is my style. My style may not work for you. If somebody has not responded to you for an email, I have another instrument for communication which is called a phone. I pick the phone up and I call that guy saying that respond. And it doesn't matter where in the world that person is. Today, calls are cheap. Okay? Now, how many reminders should you send him? You can send him as many reminders as you want. You know, once a week is a good time to send a reminder. But if you are going to copy his boss saying that, hey, you still not responded to my mail, and then you copied his boss, what happens is unintentionally you are burning bridges with that person. Please do not do that. That is the time that you have to stop emailing and start calling up people. Your email is not working. That's what it means. Rakesh Raut is asking me a question. If we communicated either for some status or for some request, does it make sense to write the email later with as discussed? This can be treated as record copy. At time we need this to confirm request status if two different parties. You are absolutely right. If you have discussed something on the phone and you want a written confirmation of that, there is something called minutes of the meeting. You got to write to the meeting, circulate it to everybody concerned. It's important. You have to do it. Next question from Shruti Kaushik Nanduri. How do you communicate an email if your boss has written? Okay, I think we've answered that question. Okay. Jyotsna is asking to highlight some of the important words to make the clients to concentrate on the word. We'll use to bold the words, but you said if you bold, it will be ordering. In this situation, how can I react? Jyotsna, I think the message that I'm trying to communicate here is be careful when you're using bold or underline. Okay? Now, bold in general on an email makes people to sit at the edge of the chair. If you want the client to concentrate on a particular word, make that as your subject. Write that in the subject. Do we have any more questions?
Yes. Can you please sort the questions on received basis? So you'll find a lot of questions which are still unanswered.
Oh, okay. I am not able to figure that thing out now. I'm not getting the question bar now. Sort the question based on received, is it? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I've got two more questions in here. Thanks for that. Okay. Neha Vadera is asking me a question. If I need to reply the client every 5 minutes in a day, then should I write hello dear name of the client again and again? Wow, that's a beautiful question. No, you don't need to write in that case. Okay. Girish Govindan is asking a question. How do you ask for status update to your boss without rubbing him wrong way? Okay, pick up the phone, call him, boss, shall we have a cup of coffee? Go to the coffee machine, talk to him, and then ask him, what is the status on this? Jyotsna E is asking a question. If we have multiple words, how can I put all of them in the subject? Okay, I think you need to figure out a way of communicating ideas in fewer words, smaller phrases. It's important for you to learn the technique. So when we learn the technique of communicating, ideas, just look at Times of India or any newspaper headlines. How do those guys write headlines? Please think about it. How do you end up reading that particular news article just by reading and looking at the headline? Headline is catchy. So we have to learn the technique of making it catchy. Arvind Badhel is asking a question. What is correct? Dear, he, hello, which one can be used to respond or inform? I think we talked about that some time back, so I'm going to give it up to this question. Bhuvana is asking a question. Should my manager be included in all emails to the client even when the purpose turns out to be more of a technical discussion? Okay, good question. Rona, my answer to you is, what does your manager want? Is your manager a guy or a girl who does micromanagement? If that is the case, maybe he wants it in every email. If he's the hands-off person, maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe you're irritating him too much by sending those mails, by sending him all the mails. Find out, learn about your manager's personality before you decide to include mails or not that you send to customers. Any more questions do we have? Okay, Praveen Shinde asking a question. For formal business emails, in email body, can we use different colors to different points? Again, Praveen, you can use different colors to mention different points, but I would not recommend you, because many people will not have the same email client that you have. So things will get rendered differently, and when they get rendered differently, the meaning could be different. So be very careful when you use it. My best suggestion to you is, you can write a plain text email without using any different font sizes, font colors, and all that stuff. If you can communicate, if you think you're able to communicate your message in plain text email, that's when you're ready to send an email. Till such time, you are not clear what you want to send. Next question we have here. Videep Desai, if in an email chain concerning technical queries, if the person I'm addressing is simply not able to answer the queries competently, and the boss as a result asks the queries to his sphere, I don't know who the superior is. How do I tell the initial addressee to send me the email ID of his superior without sounding condescending? Okay, I think these are the times where you can actually build relations with your customers. Okay, it's a very good point, because sometimes communication can be broken up if you rub the people the wrong way. Just think about it. Okay, let's say that you are in the other person's shoes. What would you do? How would Videep come and ask me to tell my boss who my boss is? My boss can ask the questions better. Why can't you pick up the phone? My suggestion to you is, don't do that on email. Pick up the phone, tell him, hey, I don't understand what you're saying. Is that what you meant? Is that what you meant? Can we involve somebody else from your team to explain this better to us? This is the opportunity for you to build relationships, and build relationships on a phone or on a video conference, or better face-to-face. Email is not the place to build that relationship. Shankara Srinivasan is asking a question. How to handle with the emails in a commanding tone? Is it fine to send one-liner email? Okay, I didn't quite clearly understand. If you meant, how do we handle emails where the sender is saying things in a very commanding way? Okay, if he's asking you for a yes or no answer, answer yes or no. If you say, do it by this time, and if you don't like it, you just go up to him, tell him you don't like it. And especially if it's a customer, you don't do that, but you go ahead and do the job and do it in a nice, polite way and build a relationship. Vibhuti Kumar is asking, some tip on escalation mail and how to handle the situation. Okay. Escalating emails, I would not recommend. Please understand, there is nothing like escalation. Okay, if an escalation, you might want to involve different parties in your own organization. You might want to pick up the phone, solve the problem, if it even gets to escalation. I would not recommend you to do what is called as flaming in emails. You send one thing, the other guy sends you back, you send him something, he sends him back, then you realize that you guys are fighting on an email, then you write to him with a copy to his boss or somebody else, and he sends an email, and then it goes all around. And what goes once from your mailbox, what you've said or unsaid, doesn't come back. So my suggestion to you is, first of all, don't write those emails. If you want to escalate something, pick up the phone and talk. Okay, which font type, font size, and font color is good to write the emails? I use Arial 10 point, black. Okay. Raghunath says, thanks Rajesh for tips on effective email communication. It's very useful. Thanks Raghunath, appreciate it so much. Shruti Kaushik Nanduri asking another question. Do we need to take off the e-signature and reply all threads? Okay, it depends. It depends on, what's your role and what exactly you're trying to do. For example, in my role as a sales and marketing guy, I leave e-signature. I have two e-signatures. One is an e-signature for a mail that is sent first. One is an e-signature which is sent as a reply or a forward. Okay, these two are different. In a reply or a forward, all I say is best regards Rajesh, and I use my mobile number or my website link. Whereas in the first email that I send, I have a proper signature. Okay, the next one we have some. When I reply to some, Raj Bhatt is asking this question. When I reply to someone back, should I mark a copy of the reply reply to his boss? Do I need to inform the person that I have done so? I do not think you need to do that, because the moment you do this, Raj, what is happening is that you are covering your backside, saying that's my job. Now, the purpose of email communication is not that. The purpose of email communication is to resolve some issues that you have with, communicating with each other. Okay, so when you reply to someone, if that person has not marked your boss or his boss, there is no reason why you should mark it and copy his boss or your boss, Raj. Pramod Chaudhary is asking a question. Replying to mails where we have not done any wrong but need to explain due to misunderstandings. Okay, Pramod, good opportunity for you to drop your email, pick up the phone, go meet the person face to face and sponsor a cup of coffee for him, mend relationships. It doesn't matter whether you have done the mistake or the other person has done the mistake. As long as there is a misunderstanding, if you own up the responsibility of misunderstanding, go figure it out and clean it up. Shruti Kaushik, coming back. Merge or a BCC. Okay, there are a lot of email tools, and I recommend you to use email tools. You could look at things like MailChimp.com, or you could look at ConstantContact.com, where you can send out mails to several people at the same time, and you can also track mail responses and things like that. That's much better than just, it's kind of a mail merge, I would say, but slightly better than mail merge. Jyotsna asking the question, can we mention FYI for your information, PFA, and etc. If for example, I don't come from a very background. FYI is very popularly used. I understand what is FYI, but PFA, I took a long while before I understand that. Please find attached. So you can use whatever abbreviation that you want to use, especially if you're communicating something like TCP/IP in an email. You don't have to expand TCP/IP, okay? Because there are some things which are commonly understood in the and you should use such particular abbreviations as long as you are very clear that other persons can understand. But if you're sending an email to a new person about whom you have no knowledge, for all you might know, PFA might be a totally different meaning to that person. My request to you is, please avoid till such time you learn about the other person. Any more questions, or have you already overshot the time?
Yes, most of the questions are answered now, so we can conclude the webinar.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it so much. And you can take back the control now.
I would also like to thank our participants for making this webinar a huge success. A recorded video of this webinar will be uploaded on techgig.com by tomorrow. Gentlemen, the next webinar on techgig.com is happening tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. The topic is Enterprise App Store, Architecture, Design and Key Considerations. We have invited Director Technology at Virtusa Corporation, Mr. Rauf Adil, to present the webinar tomorrow. So see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.